And to be honest, I was terrified because the one thing I had depended on, my faith, had been reduced to rags, and I was needy, vulnerable, and afraid without it. Torn up. It was about 5 years ago, and I was in the midst of a rough year full of questions, discontent, and depression. I was still traveling the country, teaching the Bible, and speaking of God's peace and goodness, but privately I was battling despair. My comforting blanket of faith was deteriorating, and my lifelong assumptions about God, the foundations of my faith, were being shaken and shattered. During this difficult season, I kept a diary of my spiritual journey, a diary I certainly didn't want you or anyone else to read. This snapshot of my life was private, and it definitely wasn't what someone who read books by Jennifer Rothschild would expect to read. Here is a brief glimpse of what I couldn't tell anyone at the time. My faith is really being tested, and I am failing. I am questioning so much about God, who He is, where He is, even if He is. I don't know the answers. None of us really know. We just believe in hope. I have waded through this agony all week and wondered why I am feeling and thinking this way. Perhaps it's just another affirmation that I am spiritually blind. I cannot see God unless He opens my eyes and allows me to see Him. I have seen images of the God I thought I knew through Bible study, Christian platitudes, and Sunday school lessons. But the God I'm learning about now is so beyond my comprehension that I have grappled with the notion that He isn't even real. This confusion makes no sense. God, please give me the peace I once had. I don't want peace that comes from intentional ignorance. I want peace that comes from You, peace that is unexplainable, peace that can afford to question but exist without answers. See what I mean? My blanket of faith was in tatters. It's hard to even revisit those feelings and thoughts now because they were so painful. I was deeply afraid of how insecure the questions made me feel. I felt unmoored from what I thought I knew about God, and I was afraid to say it out loud to anyone because then it would feel even more real. But it was the real, raw, and radically honest truth about what I was going through, and I couldn't have written the pages of this book without first living through those difficult questions. Have you ever had such difficult feelings or tried to make sense of your faith only to end up with more questions? Have you tried to wrap yourself in a blanket of faith and realized there were so many holes in it that it no longer protected or comforted you? Maybe you're there right now, and that's why you picked up this book. If that's the case, know you are not alone. People of faith have been asking tough questions for millennia. The technical term for the problem of suffering is theodicy. The word itself has its roots in the Greek words for God, theos, and justice, dike. It was coined in the 17th century by one of the greatest thinkers of the Enlightenment period, Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz. Theodicy attempts to explain how and why there can be evil and suffering in the world if God is powerful and good. Theodicy is a head term, but its implications are heart issues. So rather than being an intellectual pursuit of theodicy, this book is a heart pursuit. The head pursues answers. Our hearts need more than answers. We need comfort. We need to know that God cares and is aware of our suffering. We need to feel His empathy when we are entwined in a painful mystery of faith. We need to feel that our blanket of faith can protect us, that the holes can be filled with answers. That's where I was in 2009. I desperately needed His reassurance. I needed to know that He was there, that He was good, and that He was just. And actually, I am still there. Even though I feel more comfortable with the questions, the answers aren't what ultimately got me through. Answers are not what mend the holes in our blankets of faith. Answers are not what will get you through your tough times either. But my friend, you should still ask the questions. Mending